Hey, what's up guys? It's a new video from Tech and Time Journeys. We're diving deep into the world of design, and today we're tackling a fundamental aspect of it, typography. Whether you're a seasoned designer or just starting out, understanding typography can completely transform your work. It's the art of arranging type to make it legible, readable, and visually appealing. We're going to break down everything from the basics to more advanced concepts, so you can walk away feeling confident in your typography skills. So grab your notebooks and let's get started. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated on our latest videos. We've got a lot more design tips and tricks coming your way. Typography is essentially the art and science of arranging type. We're talking about selecting typefaces, choosing font sizes, adjusting spacing, everything that goes into making text look good and function effectively. Think about it, you see typography everywhere. From the website you're browsing to the book you're reading, typography is what makes those words on the page come to life. It's not just about aesthetics either. Good typography enhances readability, making it easier for people to digest and understand information. It's about finding that sweet spot where form meets function. So, whether you're creating a website, designing a poster, or even just putting together a presentation, understanding typography is crucial. It's the foundation of good design. Now you might be thinking, isn't typography just part of graphic design? And you'd be right, but it's important to understand the distinction. Graphic design encompasses a broader scope, encompassing elements like imagery, layout, and overall composition. It's about visual communication in its entirety. Typography, however, is a specialized area within graphic design, focusing solely on type. It's like the difference between a chef and a pastry chef. Both work in the kitchen, but they have their own areas of expertise. So, while typography is a vital ingredient in the graphic design recipe, it's a craft in its own right, requiring a keen eye for detail and an understanding of how type can be used to communicate effectively. Typography is incredibly powerful. It can evoke emotions, convey a brand's personality, and even influence how people perceive information. Think about the different feelings you get when you see a typeface like Times New Roman versus Comic Sans. One feels traditional and authoritative, while the other feels more playful and informal. Choosing the right typeface for your project is crucial, and we'll delve deeper into that later. But for now, understand that typography is more than just making text look pretty. It's about making it work. All right, let's break down some key elements of typography, starting with typefaces and fonts. These terms often get used interchangeably, but they actually represent distinct aspects of type. Think of a typeface as the overall design of a family of characters. It defines the style, shape, and personality of the letters. For example, Times New Roman, Helvetica, and Arial are all typefaces, each with its own unique look and feel. A font, on the other hand, is a specific implementation of a typeface. It's like choosing a particular weight or size within a typeface family. So, Times New Roman 12-point bold is a specific font, as is Helvetica 24-point light. Understanding this distinction is crucial when working with type. It allows you to be precise with your choices and achieve the exact look and feel you're going for. Now, let's dive into some broad categories of typefaces. You'll commonly encounter three main types: serif, sans serif, and script. Each has its own distinct characteristics and uses. Serif typefaces are characterized by small decorative strokes, or serifs, at the ends of the letter strokes. Think Times New Roman, Georgia, or Garamond. They tend to evoke a sense of tradition, formality, and readability, often used in print media like books and newspapers. Sans serif typefaces, on the other hand, lack those decorative serifs. They're clean, modern and minimalist, with popular examples like Arial, Helvetica and Verdana. You'll often find them used in digital media like websites and apps. Lastly, script typefaces mimic the fluidity of handwriting or calligraphy. They're often used sparingly for decorative purposes, adding a touch of elegance or personality to designs. Choosing the right typeface category for your project depends on the tone and message you want to convey. Alright, so we've got the basics of typography down: the typefaces, the kerning, the tracking, the leading, but how do you actually use all these elements effectively? That's where the fundamental rules and principles come in. These are like the design guidelines that separate good typography from, well, a jumbled mess. First up is hierarchy. Just like a good user interface, typography needs a clear hierarchy to guide the reader's eye. Think of it like a well-structured essay. You've got your headings that grab attention, and then the body text provides the details. You don't want everything shouting for attention at the same time. Now, how do you actually create this hierarchy? Well, font size is your best friend. Larger fonts naturally draw the eye, so use them for your most important headings. Then scale down the size for subheadings and body text. But it's not just about size. You can also play with font weights, bold a heading and suddenly it pops, or use a completely different typeface for headings versus body text. A little contrast goes a long way in establishing that visual flow. Next up is consistency. This one's all about keeping things familiar and easy to follow. You don't want to be switching up fonts and styles randomly throughout your design. Imagine reading a website where every other paragraph was in Comic Sans. Not exactly a premium experience. Consistency means sticking to a limited selection of typefaces. 2 or 3 at most is a good rule of thumb. And once you've chosen your fonts, use them consistently for specific elements. Headings should always be in one font, body text in another, and so on. But consistency goes beyond just typefaces. Alignment is another crucial factor. Keep your text aligned consistently, whether it's left aligned, right aligned, or centered, to maintain a clean and organized look. Jumping between alignments randomly just creates visual chaos. And don't forget about line spacing and letter spacing. Those should be consistent too, especially for large chunks of text. Inconsistent spacing can make your text look uneven and difficult to read. Now, consistency is great, but you also need some contrast to keep things interesting. Contrast is what makes your design pop, making certain elements stand out and grab the viewer's attention. Think of it like adding spices to your food. A little bit goes a long way in creating a more dynamic and flavorful experience. One of the easiest ways to create contrast is with font sizes. You already know that larger fonts stand out, so use that to your advantage. But you can also create contrast with font weights. Think bold headings paired with lighter body text. Color is another powerful tool for contrast. A light-colored text on a dark background or vice versa instantly grabs the eye. But be mindful of accessibility here. You want to make sure there's enough contrast for people with visual impairments to read the text comfortably. And finally, let's talk about whitespace. Whitespace, or negative space, is the empty space around and between elements in your design. Don't underestimate the power of whitespace. It's not just empty space, it's breathing room for your design. It gives your text room to breathe, makes it easier to read, and helps to group related elements together. All right, so we've covered the building blocks of typography. The typefaces, the kerning, the tracking, all that good stuff. But how do you actually put it all together to create typography? Well, The first thing to remember is that, above all else, good typography is readable typography. You could have the coolest, most unique font in the world, but if people can't read what it says, it's not doing its job. That means paying close attention to things like contrast, spacing, and hierarchy. We've all been on those websites with light grey text on a white background, squinting to make out the words. Don't be that website. Make sure there's enough contrast between your text and the background so it's easy on the eyes. And don't be afraid to use Whitespace. It's not wasted space, it's breathing room for your text. Good typography is like a well-designed interface. It just fades into the background and lets the content shine through. You don't want people to be thinking about the typography itself. You want them to be absorbed in the message it's conveying. Now, readability is crucial, but good typography goes beyond just being legible. It should also reflect the overall tone and personality of the brand or project it represents. Think about it. A tech startup is going to want a very different typographic style than, say, a luxury fashion brand. The tech startup might go for something clean, modern and geometric, like a sans serif font. The fashion brand, on the other hand, might choose a more elegant and sophisticated serif typeface. The right typeface can communicate so much about a brand's identity without saying a single word. It's like choosing the right outfit for an occasion. You wouldn't wear a tuxedo to a backyard barbecue, right? The same principle applies to typography. At the end of the day, the most important thing is that your typography is effectively communicating your message to your audience. That means thinking carefully about your target audience and what kind of typographic style will resonate with them. Are you going for a playful and approachable vibe? Or something more serious and professional? Your typography should reflect that. It's also about guiding the reader through the text in a way that feels natural and intuitive. Use hierarchy to highlight key information and make sure your line lengths aren't too long, which can make the text difficult to follow. Good typography is like a good storyteller. It knows how to keep the reader engaged from beginning to end. So, we've covered a lot of ground in this video, from the basics of what typography is to some best practices for creating effective and visually appealing typography. But the world of typography is vast and always evolving. There's always something new to learn, whether it's a new typeface, a new design trend, or just a deeper understanding of the nuances of typographic principles. And that's what's so exciting about it. It's a journey of continuous learning and exploration. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Marquez, where do I even begin with all this learning and exploring? Well, the good news is there are tons of amazing resources out there for anyone who wants to level up their typography game. One of my favorite places to start is with online font libraries. Sites like Google Fonts, Adobe Fonts, and Font Squirrel offer a huge selection of free and paid fonts to experiment with. You can browse by category, style, or even just type in a keyword to find the perfect typeface for your next project. And don't underestimate the power of inspiration. Sites like Behance and Dribbble are full of incredible design work, including tons of inspiring typography examples. Just browsing through these sites can spark new ideas and help you develop your own unique style. Plus, many designers share their processes and insights, which can be incredibly valuable for learning new techniques and approaches. But the absolute best way to learn typography is to simply roll up your sleeves and start experimenting. Pick a typeface you like, play around with different font sizes, adjust the kerning and tracking, and see what happens. Don't be afraid to break the rules and try something unconventional. The more you experiment, the more you'll develop your own eye for what works and what doesn't. And remember, typography is an iterative process. It's about constantly refining and improving your work until you're happy with the final result. So, keep practicing, keep experimenting, and most importantly, have fun with it. That's it for today's video. I hope this guide has given you a solid foundation in typography design. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow designers. And hey, if you really want to dive deeper into the world of design, don't forget to subscribe to Tech and Time Journeys for more practical guides and insights. See you in the next video.